Hey everybody, this is Dan from Mechanical Malarkey. Today I'm going to show you the basics of replacing oxygen sensors. There are at least 2 of these on every modern car. They're in the exhaust system and they measure how the engine's running so the computer can control it better. They're not that hard to replace, but sometimes they're in hard to reach places and they can rust into the exhaust system pretty badly. Oxygen sensors have a simple hex on the outside so you can get a tool on it, but you can't just use a regular old socket or wrench because the wiring is part of the sensor. It doesn't unplug at the sensor, it unplugs away from the exhaust. So a regular socket, you can't get it on there unless you cut the wires, which sure you could do that for an old sensor, but you can't do that on a new sensor. If you have access, you could get an open-end wrench on here, but those aren't always the best for when things take a lot of force to loosen. And you probably can't get the closed end on because the connector may be a lot bigger than the actual sensor. This is where special oxygen sensor sockets come in. They have a slot so you can fit the wiring inside there and still get down to the sensor. There's 2 main styles, the deep socket like this and the crow's foot style like this that comes off to the side. Sometimes you can't access the sensor good from straight on, so you have to come in from the side like this. And once again, it has a slot so you can get it over the wiring. What you'll need for your ratchet and extensions will vary depending on where the sensor is. Sometimes you might need an extension, or even in a really awkward location, you might need to do something like that. When I'm using this style, I usually like to use a breaker bar rather than a ratchet because I get a much more solid connection and I can put a lot more force on it without risking breaking the teeth of the ratchet. With a ratchet, it could be fine like this, but then it gets awkwardly like this, and then you're kind of stuck. Most sensors that I've dealt with are 22 millimeter, which is also the same as 7/8, so that's what both of these sockets are. One optional tool that I like to use, this is a thread chaser. Once I take out the old sensor, I like to make sure the threads in the exhaust system are clean by running this down. It's actual dual-sided, has threads for spark plugs as well. But you fit a socket over this one on one side and screw it in. You don't have to do that, but I like to as an extra safety measure. Conveniently, the sensor I'm replacing is in the most easy to reach position. It is bank 2 sensor 1 on this Honda Accord. As you can see, I've already unplugged the sensor. And because this is an easy place to access, I can use the deep socket with an extension. To break that free might take a bit of force because it's pretty old and rusty. And as you're spinning it, you have to make sure you're controlling the wiring because it may snag on something as it spins around. Now that the old sensor is out, I'm going to check that the threads are okay with the thread tracer. And they're all good, so I'll get the new sensor. And you'll notice on the threads, this already has anti-seize applied to it. Some come with it, some come with a little tube of it for you. If it doesn't come with any anti-seize, it's always a good idea to put it on because otherwise it will rust into the exhaust and become a single piece with it and you'll never get it back out if you have to. So screw the new sensor in, again making sure the wiring doesn't snag on anything while you're turning it. You can probably screw it in by hand and then once it's snug, use the ratchet to tighten it up. And don't forget to plug it back in. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, please like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Follow me on social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and read the blog at mechanicalmalarkey.com. Thanks for watching.